Good afternoon. I'm Alexandra Klitina, journalist with Kyiv Post. Today with us, Dimitri Chichlo, the deputy chair of Supervisory Board of Ukraine state-owned bank, Ukreximbank. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I think you are should be quite busy.
I am indeed. I have a busy week in Ukraine.
Yeah, Ukreximbank is a major bank of Ukraine, and I think there is a lot of filials around the country. Are there some filials that are under occupation right now? What is happening there? What is with the people?
Well, yes, we have some. I just visited our subsidiary in Kherson, which was open 2 weeks after the end of the Russian occupation. The Russians have looted absolutely everything in our office. Well, it's like they usually do. So there is a great need of new equipment and supporting our employees there. First with heating, of course.
But have the bank evacuated its employees from occupied regions?
Yes, the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russia, the bank worked 24/7 to protect and evacuate its employees from the occupied regions and to Western Europe as well. So that was a great achievement by the management, which showed a great leadership, in fact.
How the bank's activities have changed since the war started? What is the challenges management facing at the moment?
Well, there are different phases, right? At the beginning, after February 24th, it was extremely difficult to understand what is going to happen in the next day, 3 days, week. As you remember, the situation changed permanently. Luckily, 1 year before, when Russia started accumulating troops around the Ukrainian border, we updated our business continuity plans, which enabled us to roll them out after February 24th. So the priority at the beginning, as you said before, was to protect our employees. At some point to protect the, let's say, the valuables we have at the bank, the data without which we cannot work, to ensure that the bank is going to survive the full-scale invasion. After 3 weeks, we restarted crediting our customers. Since February 24th, we are the #1 crediting in Ukraine. We delivered more than 23 billion hryvnias of credits to our legal entities, to our customers. And in fact, if the beginning of the war was focused on surviving, now we are focusing on sustaining the Ukrainian economy.
So is the bank still providing full-scale services?
Yes, we do. We were the first one issuing military bonds at the beginning of the invasion. And yes, we as soon as possible, we provide the services as we usually do. As I said, less than 2 weeks after the liberation of Kherson, we reopen our branch. So I think it's part of the unbeatable spirit of Ukrainians to show that sustainability and resilience is of the utmost importance.
But in what extent the management decisions depend on state entities of Ukraine? Is state helping, supporting the bank at the moment?
All the reforms of the corporate governance reforms that were undertaken after June 2019, after we started working as a supervisory board, helped reforming the bank. And these reforms conducted to a bank in a healthy state today and able to sustain the Ukrainian economy. And the fact we're still crediting and we're crediting as much as possible is a sign of good health.
Can you explain more detail about corporate governance reform role? Because it was a lot of criticism in public media regarding this reform, but according to statistics, the Ukreximbank became more profitable after implementation of this reform.
Exactly, you're right. In 2021, we had the record net result of the bank, the best one we had in 30 years, and it followed the implementation of corporate governance. I'll be a little bit long, but I just want to explain why we're doing this and how we are doing this. In fact, we probably haven't been enough vocal about the essence of our job. In fact, by implementing those reforms, we are supporting, we are protecting, we are defending the interest of the Ukrainian taxpayer, right? A state-owned bank is capitalized by the state. If the money disappears from the bank because the credits are not repaid back by the creditors or by the debtors, then the capital goes directly from the state budget to recapitalize the bank. So in fact, what happens is that we are defending the money of the taxpayers. On one hand, we have the politicians who are going to work on making the economic environment more friendly and sustainable. And you have the Supervisory Board composed of professionals who are going to ensure that the bank is sustainable. And those interests, they cannot diverge, right?
Do you think Ukreximbank would survive without implementing this reform after the full-scale war?
Well, my personal opinion is that no. I believe that if the full-scale invasion would have occurred 3 years before, the bank wouldn't have been able to sustain the full-scale invasion. Crisis situation perfectly reveal the personalities, right? And the president, just by his words, saying that I don't need taxi, I need ammunition, completely changed the face of Ukrainian leadership and showed that even during a crisis situation, he's calm, he's able to lead, he's able to take rational decisions, and this is a game changer, right? So without new leadership, you're not able to, let's say, to manage to lead your bank throughout a crisis situation. The fact that the current management board is able to lead the bank and has led the bank where it is today, especially through different crises, the COVID, and now the full-scale invasion, is a direct consequence of the action of the Supervisory Board. The Supervisory Board has been formed in 2019. We've been drafting a new strategy for the bank, and we also changed the management board according to a transparent process, which allows, let's say, choosing our candidates independently with a very fair process. And this management board is the one who is going to implement the reforms and the strategy. So without the Supervisory Board, there would not be any management board as it is today.
But before 2019, I remember that Ukreximbank had a reputation of completely untransparent corruption state bank, when some state authorities could actually call there and say, give this loan, and nobody bring it back. So after bank went bankrupt, so it was really untransparent. So how exactly the Supervisory Board changed the situation?
Yes, in fact, what you describe is true. When we started working in 2019, we ended up with a portfolio of 2/3 of the credit portfolio was non-performing loans, right? Which
it's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot. In a normal bank, well, the bank should be bankrupt, period, right? Except is what I said before. As it's a state-owned bank, the state was recapitalizing the bank to ensure that the bank survives, right? What is important to take into account is, and I think it's of great importance for the country, the reforms that have been undertaken by the National Bank after 2014 to clean up the banking sector, to implement sustainability ratios, credit ratios, and cleaning the banking sector made this sector more sustainable. Even after this full-scale invasion, we can see that, in fact, the banking sector is there. It hasn't disappeared. Banks are still crediting, supporting the economy. So what the bank does is that, it's direct action of the Supervisory Board as well, is that we ensure that the ratios are, respected by the bank. We also implementing a risk-based approach in the way that credit are delivered to the customers, right? We ensure that we have risk management processes, policies, directives, that those are respected, that we have compliance in place, that we have professional management board employees who are able to implement these.
Mm-hmm. So after implementation of corporate governance reform, the bank became profitable, right?
I can't say that we fully implemented the corporate governance reform because it's an ongoing process, right? There is always room for improvement. The bank is now a money maker. It was a money loser. It's a money maker. I was visiting our subsidiary in Lviv, and I discussed with the new head of our subsidiary here, and she said that when she arrived 2 years ago, she was shocked by the very low level of credit delivered by the bank, and she increased this portfolio by, I think around 10 or 12-fold, just by doing normal banking, right? So this works, in fact, and today the bank operationally still makes money. We earn money from an operational point of view. Again, unfortunately, we have to form the reserves regarding the portfolio we have because, there is great uncertainty around some of our customers.
But that's impressive. Also, as far as I know, Ukrexim have been working actively with IFIs. So is this work extended?
Well, in fact, this corporate governance reform that was undertaken from 2019 has been at some point promoted and pushed by the IFIs. What the IFIs don't want to is to lend money to a bank, which is going to distribute it to A, B, and C, who are never going to repay their credits, right? Because where does the money come from? At the World Bank, the IFC, IFC is World Bank, but from the EBRD, for instance, or from the IMF, it comes from the taxpayers from Western countries, right? So this money is lent to Ukrainian entities, and IFIs want to ensure that this money is going to be repaid and be used wisely by the financial institutions. Today, we still work and in fact, we are the only partner of the World Bank in Ukraine, for instance, and we're still crediting according to the programs that have been set up before February 24th. Some IFIs even increased some limits on some of the programs. So we have still room for crediting according to those programs. And we're still working with the IFIs. I strongly believe that, in fact, these corporate governance reforms that were undertaken should be used by the state as an example for further corporate governance reforms in state-owned enterprises. As I said before, not everyone really understands what we are doing, but in fact, now that Ukraine is a candidate to the European Union, they will have to implement a lot of different directives, policies. It's a huge program. The amount of work is absolutely incredible, and it's going to take years. And among them, corporate governance reform is of the utmost importance. The state won't be able to get rid of such reforms. So in fact, we show that we can be successful, right? You remember probably some years ago that everyone used to say, well, corruption in Ukraine is unbeatable. You cannot reform the state. It's not possible, right? But in fact, we came and showed that, yes, it is possible. It is possible as long as we remain independent and we are able to do our work without the interference of the state.
Okay, thank you for this interview.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Okay.